It's time now for Real Estate Update. With Usha Chandra of GlobeNet Realty, real estate is our world.
Now we're standing here.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this very exciting segment today on the weekly real estate update with Usha Chandra of GlobeNet Realty. With that, welcome to the show, Usha.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Australian Indian Radio and Usha Chandra.
And it's always a pleasure to have you on the show, and that's lots happening out there in the real estate scene, and we're getting towards the end of the year. It's amazing to see how quickly it has gone through, even through pandemics and floods and everything like that. So what are the trends and what has the market been doing looking at all the clearance rates across the nation?
Yes, let's have a quick look at the Sydney markets and the preliminary clearance rate, which is 67.5%. Good news. So it's gone over the 60.3% compared from last week. With auction activities trending upwards the second week, the combined capitals hosted 2,266 auctions last week, the busiest week since late June, which was 2,364 auctions, while up 4.4% from the previous week of 2,170. The number of homes taken to auction last week was 39.1% lower than this time last year, which was 3,720 when selling conditions were much stronger. With 1,790 results collected so far, the combined capital's preliminary clearance rate rose 3 percentage points, with 63.1% of auctions returning to successful result. Last week's preliminary clearance rate of 60.1% was recorded, later revised down to 57.6% at the final figures, while this time last year 73.7% of auctions were very successful. Across the smaller capitals, Brisbane hosted the busiest auction week last week, up by 13.1%, with 198 properties taken to auction across the city. This was followed by Adelaide 157 and Canberra 131, up by 2.6 and 20.2% respectively. With the preliminary clearance rate of 61.2%, Adelaide had the most successful week amongst the smaller capitals, despite recording its lowest preliminary clearance rate in almost 2 years. In Canberra, 50.6% of auctions returned to successful result, while Brisbane recorded a preliminary clearance of 49.6%. In Perth, 5.5 of the 22 results collected so far were successful results, while the 2 auctions held in Tasmania last week were successful. Great news for Tasmania. This time they had 2 auctions and sold under the hammer. So that's the auction results across the major capital cities.
And that's wonderful to see. And as you mentioned that, even Tasmania having auctions happening there as well. Well, right now, taking a look at all of the auctions, and let's get some of the points about the clearance rates and the numbers, etc., throughout the nation.
Yes, let's have a quick look at the Sydney markets. Clearance rate was 67.5%, really good results there. 766 properties were taken to auction and 428 sold under the hammer. Melbourne 65.5%, up there as well, and which is 981 properties taken to auction and 535 were cleared results. Brisbane 49.6%, up there as well. 198 properties were taken to auction and 65 sold under the hammer. Adelaide is 61.2%, which is down there. Adelaide's market's a bit down last week. 157 properties taken to auction and 63 only sold under the hammer. Perth is 22.7%, quite low there. 31 properties taken to auction, only 5 sold under the hammer. Tasmania was, as we discussed, 2 of the properties were taken to auction and both were sold. Canberra 50.6% down there as well. 131 properties were taken to auction and only 41 sold under the hammer. So let's have a quick look at the combined capital cities. The average was 63.1%. 2,266 properties were taken to auction and only 1,139 properties were sold under the hammer. So that's the auction results of last week.
And those results do speak volumes. And looking at the volumes, let's take a look at property prices. And when the property prices, there's two ways to gauge this. One is we always look at what's happening in the month. So we look at the monthly figures, then we correlate those figures to the whole of the year to see what has the performance been over the year. So first of all, let's take a look at the monthly changes across the nation.
Yes, looking at the monthly changes, Sydney is minus 1.1%, Melbourne is minus 0.5%, better results compared to the previous weeks. Brisbane is minus 1.7%, and Adelaide is minus 0.4%, and Perth is minus 0.1%. So the combined capitals is looking much better than compared to the previous week's result, which is minus 0.9%. And let's have a quick look at the 12-month change as well. Minus 10% actually in Sydney, minus 6.5% in Melbourne. Brisbane is plus 5.1%, and Adelaide is plus 14.6%. Those places have been down as well. Before it was 16.6%, now down by 2% in Adelaide. Perth is 3.19%, is a plus there. So the minus combined is minus 4.7%.
And when we look at that graph, Brisbane is slipping back a little bit because it used to be still above the line, but it used to be much higher than that. Of course, Adelaide was always higher, but all these monthly figures are now, especially slowly transposing onto this monthly change. So Brisbane sitting at about 5.1% on the annual, change. So still up there, but it's not as high as what it used to be before. Well, right now, we know that in real estate, listing is king. So, what is in forms of listings throughout the nations? What are the new ones and what are the 4-week figures?
Yes, looking at the Brisbane market first, 3,922 new properties have come on the market, down from last week. So the total number of listings is 14,794. Sydney is 6,429 new listings, down there as well in new listings as well. 23,016 4-week count. Canberra is a little bit up in listings, 785, and 4-week count is 2,280. Melbourne is down in listings as well, 8,026, 28,804. Looking at Adelaide, market listing is up a little bit there, 2,008, and 4-week count is 5,085. Darwin is 232. 4-week count is 1,187. Perth is a little bit up in listing, 4,201. 14,502 is the 4-week count. Hobart listing is up as well. That was in 300s, but now it's 407. And 1,312 is the 4-week count. So the combined capitals is 26,010 new listings and 90,988 is the 4-week count. So large volumes of listing in some of the cities, whereas few cities have been down in listing.
So it's good to see that the numbers are coming up. Well, in real estate, that second part of the equation is the rentals. So, of course, investors always make a decision based upon the rental demand and where things are. And there have been so much media on shortage of rental properties, even government taking some actions in trying to provide some low-cost housing, etc., and some public housing schemes, which are, well, the thing is, the shortage is now, and these things are under construction. So, by the time it would be something similar to what happened with those COVID detention centers. by the time the detention centers were made, no one needed there was no need for it. So they're changing it into something else. So what is happening in the rental market?
Yes, let's have a quick look at the Brisbane market. Rental properties are up again here, 4,547. 4-week count is 8,815. Sydney is 13,045 new rental properties compared to 6,000 in sales. So there's quite a large number of rental properties in Sydney. And Canberra is 1,120 new listings, up there as well. And 2,084 is the 4-week count. Melbourne is for 11,189 new listings. 24,403 is the 4-week count. Looking at Adelaide, 1,595 new listings in rentals. 2,835 is the 4-week count. And Darwin is up as well, 327 new listings, and 4-week count is 6,689. Perth is 3,173 new listings, and 4-week count is 5,948. Hobart is 359, 4-week count is 632. So combined capitals is 35,355 new listings, large number of new listings in rentals. So that's the rental results. A lot of rentals coming on the market now.
To me, looking at that sort of figures that you have just presented, I can't see the shortage of rental properties. There could be other factors why people cannot get into a house. There would be some other factors rather than just the rental shortage. You know, there's enough listings coming on, so there would be something that's probably a deterrent to people getting in. Because of course there is a process, there's a rental applications, the suitability, the affordability, a lot of things also take into account. So talking about affordability, what are the rental rates across the nation, and in terms of investors, what sort of returns are they getting?
Looking at the Sydney market first, $670 per week. Their price is quite steady. Melbourne is very steady as well. So looking at Sydney, 12-month change is 10.4%, and the current yield is 3.01%. Melbourne is $499 per week, and the 12-month change is 9%, and current yield is 3.14%. Brisbane is 578, so rental is quite high as well, and the 12-month change is 13.5%, and yield is quite good, 4%. Adelaide is $513 per week, and the 12-month change is 13%, and the current yield is 3.88%. Perth is $538 per week, and the 12-month change is 9.6%, and 4.58 is the current yield. Hobart is $550 per week, quite steady there, and 6.8% is their 12-month change, and 3.96% is their current yield. Darwin, looking at Darwin, $591 per week, quite good rent there, and 12-month change is only 5.9%, and look at their current yield is 6.27%, quite high yield there. Canberra is $679 per week, and the 12-month change is 5.9%, and current yield is 4.01%. So looking at the combined capitals, $566 per week is the medium rent, and 12-month change is 10.3%, and yield in the combined capital cities is 3.43%. So let's have a quick look at the regional markets, combined regional markets. The $494 is per week is the current rent, and the 12-month change is 9.3%, and yield is quite good as well, 4.38%. National is $546 per week, and the 12-month change is 10%, and current yield is 6.35%. So quite good yield at quite a few places, and the rental prices are quite good as well. The weekly rents are quite high.
And that is wonderful and so good to see. Looking at the changes, and when we look at Darwin, at the 6.2 7% as the current gross yield. That means someone made some good decisions. They would be making good money right now, good returns. But the thing is, that is what it is now. By the time other people rush, by the time figures will change. So that is the current figures now, based on what was done or what sort of investment people made earlier on. Well, right now, moving on, let's take a look at our own backyard and look at what have been the big sales, in this period. As we look at every week, we try and see what have been some of the record-breaking sales.
Yes, looking at Tenerife in Brisbane, the 93 Macquarie Street, 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 3 cars, sold for $7 million. And that one is the first sale, it looks like a very small block, but triple-story house in Tenerife, $7 million. Next one is in Gold Coast, Paradise Point, at 38 Kingsbridge Parade West, Paradise Point, 6 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, 6 cars. So a huge house, and that's sold for $5,680,000, and that's quite a large house. Looks like a very nice 4 or 5 story house, and obviously that might have the ocean views or whatever. That's quite a nice property as well. So 2 very good sales in Queensland.
Location, as they mentioned in real estate. So, that property in Tenerife, even though it's a triple story, it is on a small block, but it's the position probably that dictated that sort of price, and of course the quality of the finishing and everything would also had something to do with that. But it's wonderful to see the prices that people are getting. Sometimes it makes you wonder. It is quite insane, some of these prices, but this is what people are prepared to pay, and they are able to afford to pay. If you're keeping an eye on the property market, so this is where it is all heading. We know that Tenerife has always been a very high in demand, a sought after area, and of course Paradise Point as well is a beautiful part of Queensland. Well, right now let's moving on very quickly. If you have any update from your area.
Yes, looking at our area, north side of Brisbane, Boondall, Tygum, all that surrounding suburbs. Listings are very down at the moment. There's quite a few appraisals have been done, but the listings are coming very slowly. Sales, we have just had one sale, which is 13 ABR Street. That one is gone under contract. We've got a couple of open houses on the weekend. We've got open house at Apley Road in Benio, and another one at 211 Pine Tree Close in Fitzgibbon. So those and there's another one at Margate. So, but that's a rental property that's open at 10 o'clock this Saturday. And then we have got another rental in New Farm, Oxlade Drive, and that's it, overlooking the river. It's 2 bedrooms, fully furnished apartment for $600 per week, 1 car accommodation. So those are the few listings and rentals for the area. And so we still do a lot of community work with our schools. We are just in the process of with Benio District Club, we are doing the Christmas carols. We are sponsoring the Christmas carols for Benio District Community Club, and then we are continually supporting Boondall State School. We have just donated another $500 for their swimming carnival and end of school party. So that's the community connect with GlobeNet Realty.
And it is wonderful to see that GlobeNet Realty maintains that community contact. I know that there have been quite a few Christmas programs. Even there's few church groups which are from the Indian origin, and you have been supporting them as well. And Pastor Joseph Das, they are having their function. Is it this weekend in Deagon, and GlobeNet Realty supporting that as well. So it is wonderful, and it's so good to see. Now I picked up from your last commentary that listings are a little bit less and that the market is a little bit slowing. Would that be indicative of this time of the year when people are getting close to the holidays? I've noticed that over the years, coming into Easter, coming on to Christmas, and whenever there are elections, they always have adverse effect on the market.
Yes, absolutely. That's what's happening because of the interest rate going high this year and holidays. People haven't been out of the country, so they're all booking holidays. Already, a lot of people have gone in November, so to overseas countries, holidays, because at Christmas time is very expensive, so they've taken holidays to go in November. So they are the few major reasons why the market is down, and that's always the case. Around Christmas time, the market goes down. So less properties coming on the market. A lot of people don't want to move in and out of properties. It's a stressful time, and they want family time at this time.
Of course, family time is paramount, and that's one key point that you touched on there is that people are traveling a lot. And yesterday we had a report come in about how frustrated people are at the airports. There are long queues to get past the security. The security checkup is like, people are waiting, people have missed flights, and flights have been delayed. On overall, the rate of running on time has declined, and it is down to one of the very old levels where it used to be ages ago when this sort of conditions were witnessed. But right now there have been many reports of many frustrated people whose holidays have been completely ruined by the late departure of flights or late arrival into countries because they have connecting flights or connecting ferries or whatever, which they have missed. So anyway, good to see GlobeNet Realty with this community contact supporting each and every kind of event that takes place in the community, irrespective of the ethnicity, race or religion. So that is wonderful to see. So thank you so much, Usha, for this weekly update and with the real estate.
Thank you so much for having me on your show.
GlobeNet Realty. GlobeNet Realty has been the longest established, trusted and respected agency in its trade area. Usha Chandra, Director of GlobeNet Realty, provides honest and ethical service to her customers. If you are thinking of investing in Brisbane real estate market, or if you are seeking professional property management, then you should contact Usha Chandra today on landline 3865 4466 or mobile 0419 775 416. And for further updates, log on to our website www.globenetralty.com.au. GlobeNet Realty is your own local real estate agency. Situated at Shop 52281 Sandgate Road, Boondall. GlobeNet Realty. Real estate is our world.